Hello everybody, Jardis here, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing a build that I have started to enjoy a little bit more often than I probably should, because I am not normally a Thief player. I'm not a huge fan of the Thief playstyle, but this particular build, which relies on the Deadeye Elite specialization for the Thief, has caught my attention, and because of that, I've been playing a little bit more often than I thought I would, and I figured I'd share this build with you in case there are those of you out there who are looking for a similar build. Now, this build is the Sniper, and it relies heavily on long-range combat. It does have some flaws in dealing with close range and melee range combat, but the objective of this build is to keep your distance, and in case you get too close to your enemies, there are ways to make it so that you can disengage yourself and regain that distance back. Now, to show you what this build is all about, we are using
Hurts,
the
doesn't it?
Marauder set, which is power, precision, vitality, and ferocity. We are also using superior rune of the Pact for the increased power as well as the 125 increased precision. Precision will be very important to this build, which is why we are going with the Marauder set. We are also using a Marauder rifle with superior sigil of the Force and superior sigil of Impact. Now, as a precaution, we are doing in our secondary weapon slot dual daggers, both of which are berserker stats, just as a precaution in case we're absolutely forced into melee range, though we will not be relying on these. These are just as an emergency. For the trinkets, we will be using the Ebony Orichalcum set, again, power, precision, vitality, ferocity. Now for the build itself, we're actually going critical strikes, deadly arts, and Deadeye.
Hope I pull through.
For the critical strikes, we are going for Twin Fangs. Deal increased critical damage while your health is above the threshold. Gain bonus critical hit chance when hitting a foe from behind or from the side. Now, we will be focusing a lot on dealing as much critical damage as possible, and considering the fact that we will be at ranged when we target our enemies, chances are they won't even notice us and will most likely be facing away from us, so we can get a free shot at the Twin Fangs by getting the bonus crit damage from hitting them from not head on. We are using practice tolerance to gain ferocity based on your precision. This is the reason why we need the precision, because we want to increase our ferocity as much as possible so we can deal even increased more damage, because the more damage we deal at a distance, the less chances the enemy has to get to us before their health drops dangerously low. We are also using Invigorating
I believe.
Precision. You are healed for a percentage of your outgoing critical hit damage. Remember what I said about dealing as much critical hit damage as possible? Well, this allows us to gain even some health while we deal critical damage, which is a survival trait. And the healing is increased while you're under the effects of fury. Well, we will be gaining ferocity, so yes, we will be getting a lot more health this way. Now, for the deadly arts, we are going with Mug. Deal damage and gain life when stealing. This attack cannot critically hit enemies. Now, this is a bit of an issue because of the fact that when we switch to our Deadeye Elite specialization, our steal is actually changed to the Deadeye's mark. However, we are still getting the effect of the dealing damage and gaining life, although we are also losing critical hit chance by using this, but the boons that we get from marking our target with the Deadeye's mark outweigh the cons. We're using revealed training to gain power and then gain extra power while we are revealed. Now, remember as I said earlier that we have some tricks to distance ourselves in case the enemies get too close? Well, those are mostly by using stealth effects. But while we're stealth, we're basically focusing on trying to get ourselves, again, distanced away from the enemies that get too close to us. But once we're revealed, we will be dealing even more damage to them. And then finally, we're using Executioner. Deal increased strike damage when your target is below the health threshold. Remember, we're dealing a lot of critical strikes on our enemies before they get to us, or at least that is the attempt. And hopefully by the time they get within a certain distance of us, their health will be below the threshold, in which case this will deal the finishing blow. For the Deadeye, we're using malicious intent. Marking a target or striking your mark with a stealth attack will immediately grant you malice. Basically, what that means is that when we mark them with our Deadeye's mark, we will be gaining the malice count, which are these little dots that you see down here above the endurance bars. And there is a reason for this. We're also using Silent Scope to gain even more precision and gain additional precision while wielding the rifle. Again, we will be mostly focusing on the rifle, so therefore we will be getting even more additional precision. When we enter, and we can enter stealth when we dodge roll with the rifle equipped. Again, more stealth effects in case we need to distance ourselves. And then finally, Maleficent 7. Increase the maximum malice stack count. Again, that's these dots down here. Restore initiative and gain boons upon reaching the maximum number of malice stacks. Now, the reason why we're choosing this is not so much for the malice itself, but the fact that it restores our initiative once we get to a maximum malice count, plus it also gives us some boons. The reason why we want our initiative, which by the way is these dots down here, is because we need the initiative in order to use our basic attacks. Now, we will mostly be spamming Rifle 1, Rifle 3, and Rifle 5, but again, we have to have the initiative in order to use those attacks, and this basically just increases the, restore rate. Now for the selectable skills, we will be using Hide in Shadows. Once again, this is a stealth effect to vanish into stealth and cure conditions, then gain regeneration and heal ourselves. Again, this is for stealth so that we can disengage from our enemies, but at the same time, it is also a condition cleanser. We're also using Shadow Refuge. Create a pulsing refuge at the target that heals allies and cloaks them in stealth. This also affects us, but if we have some allies that are helping us with a target, we can also assist them as well. We are using the Infiltrator Signet to regenerate 1 extra initiative every 10 seconds. Once again, we need the initiative in order to use our attacks, so this is a must. We're using Signet of Agility to grant even more precision. Once again, with our precision, we will be dealing more critical strike damages as well as gaining ferocity. And then finally, we're using the Thieves Guild. Basically, we're using this to kind of sort of distract our enemies to keep them away from us, and while they're busy with these guys, we can snipe them from a distance. Okay, now to show you how this build works, I am currently in Auric Basin, which is part of the Heart of Thorns expansion, just southeast of the Northwatch waypoint near the Arrowhead Mastery Point, and I'm going to show you how this build works. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come down here, activate this, hit it with something, and then I'm going to quickly get back up onto my spot that I was at. And then once we get onto our target, we're going to kneel down, hit him with a mark, and then we're just going to spam target, spam the auto attack and the 3-round burst.
Accelerating.
I'm going to go ahead and summon our Thieves Guild, that even though they can't really do anything to help us, but there are a couple that can shoot from a distance, so their attacks will assist us with this. And that should not have happened.
Excellent timing. There's the power. Never felt better.
Okay. Now, as you can see, I'm hitting him by several points of thousands of damage for each hit because he is marked. And I have to, again, switch between the auto combat. Oh, I'm not even kneeled. There we go. I forgot that once we have our kneel down, we actually get increased damage output. so. And as you can see, I'm hitting him for a little bit higher points of damage now. And his health is going down, and he is hardly able to hit me now that I've got an established location. This build is a little tricky in order to get into a position so that you can hit your target without them hitting you back. But this is basically a demonstration to show you that you can solo this particular hero point, which I do know is a bit of a pain for most people. And now we have somebody who just decided to assist us. Make sure we keep our targets marked so that we can hit them for even more damage. Over 30,000 points of damage in that one round.
Accelerating.
There's one to remember me by.
And there you go. And that's how this build runs. Again, it doesn't work very well in melee range. It's best to find a spot that you think that you can gain the advantage of and snipe from below or above, depending on the situation and the landscape. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to share this information with anybody else who wants to create a sniper build, and I will see you again in the next video. Happy gaming!